Welcome back to the AI Business Digest. So, artificial intelligence is redrawing the boundaries of human work faster than most industries can respond. In this episode, we look at how that pressure is reshaping creativity, education, and entire business models. First, we cover the gaming industry where AI generated art is forcing a redefinition of creative jobs. Artists that are trained for original concept work are now being asked to edit and refine AI output instead. The result is an industry caught between efficiency and human originality, with clear signals for every creative business watching what happens next. Next, we look at education's response to the changing workforce. The College Board and U.S. Chamber of Commerce are launching a new AP business course designed to fix what they see as a growing readiness gap among Gen Z workers. The goal is to reconnect students to real-world skills and prepare them for an economy where AI is changing traditional career paths. Then we turn to the rise of AI agents, autonomous systems that make independent business decisions. In banking and insurance, these tools are no longer experimental. They're already driving operational change at scale, offering speed and precision that challenge how organizations define trust, compliance, and control. Let's get into it. The gaming industry is transforming creative jobs from original art creation into AI editing roles, forcing artists to choose between adapting or leaving the field entirely. Katie Jalarius represents thousands of aspiring game artists who are discovering that their expensive education and creative skills might not be enough anymore. After spending over $40,000 on her graduate degree in video game development, she's been job hunting for a year only to find that most available positions either require her to use AI tools or they simply don't exist at all. The numbers tell a stark story about this transformation. Nearly half of the 3,000 game developers surveyed last year reported that their companies were already using generative AI tools, even though most of these same developers had ethical concerns about the technology. This isn't just about a few companies experimenting with new tools. Major players like Microsoft are making massive strategic shifts, investing $80 billion in AI data centers this year while pulling back from video game investments. When companies that size pivot their resources, entire industries feel the impact. What's happening in gaming studios right now should concern any business owner thinking about AI adoption in creative industries. Companies aren't using AI to completely replace artists yet, but they're changing the fundamental nature of creative work. Instead of hiring artists to create original characters and environments from scratch, studios are asking AI to generate initial concepts, then having humans edit and refine those outputs. It's the difference between being a chef who creates recipes and being someone who modifies existing dishes. Both require skill, but they're entirely different jobs requiring different mindsets and creative processes. The economic pressure driving this change is intense. Gaming studios are operating on razor-thin profit margins, especially after the pandemic boom in gaming interest started to fade. When companies merge, they eliminate duplicate roles. When consumer demand slows, they cut costs wherever possible. AI offers an appealing solution because it can produce visual content faster and cheaper than human artists. A professor studying this trend put it bluntly: the technology isn't encouraging studios to hire more people when they think AI can handle certain work. This creates a challenging situation for business leaders in any creative industry. The gaming sector contributed nearly $66 billion to the U.S. economy and employed 350,000 people in 2023. When an industry that large starts fundamentally changing how it approaches creative work, other industries start to pay attention. The Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development specifically called software developers a prime example of occupations likely to be affected by AI growth. If you're running a business that relies on creative professionals, you need to understand that your talent pool is already adapting to these changes. Some companies are taking a more measured approach. Filament Games in Madison uses AI for prototyping and story drafting, but keeps humans in charge of production visuals. Their chief technology officer believes humans will always create better art for human consumption because of their lived experience and emotional understanding. However, other companies are moving faster towards AI-generated production content, creating a split in the industry between those preserving human creativity and those prioritizing efficiency and cost savings. The quality issue is becoming a real concern. Gamers are already calling AI-generated content AI slop and actively criticizing its quality. The consumer pushback suggests that companies moving too quickly toward AI-generated content might face market resistance. Moving too fast with AI might alienate customers who value human creativity, but understanding AI tools could provide competitive advantages in productivity and output volume. The practical implications for business owners are significant. If you employ creative professionals, they're likely already encountering AI tools in their field. The most successful approach seems to involve training people to understand both the strengths and limitations of AI rather than trying to replace human creativity entirely. Universities are already incorporating AI into creative curricula, recognizing that future professionals will need to work alongside these tools rather than compete against them. For entrepreneurs and business leaders, this story reveals how quickly AI can reshape entire job categories within established industries. The gaming industry wasn't particularly vulnerable or outdated. It was already highly technical and profitable, yet AI tools have still managed to transform the fundamental nature of creative work within just a few years. Business owners should expect similar transformations in their own industries and start planning for how they'll balance AI efficiency with human creativity and customer expectations. The companies that figure this balance out first will likely have significant competitive advantages over those that reject AI entirely or embrace it without considering the human elements their customers actually value. And in our next story, the College Board and U.S. Chamber of Commerce launch a new AP business course to combat Gen Z's workplace unpreparedness and growing disconnect from traditional career paths in the era of AI. So we're watching a perfect storm develop in American education and business, and it's hitting right at the moment when AI is making everyone question traditional career paths. David Coleman, CEO of the College Board, isn't mincing words about what he's seeing in high schools across America. Students are increasingly disconnected from their own futures, and he's worried that AI will only make this worse by creating a why bother mentality among young people. The numbers paint a stark picture of this disconnect. Coleman describes how student engagement follows a predictable downward spiral. Elementary students accept what they're taught, middle schoolers become suspicious, and by high school, many are completely checked out. This isn't an education problem anymore. It's becoming a massive business crisis. The Chamber of Commerce's 2025 New Hire Readiness Report reveals that 84% of hiring managers believe today's high school graduates aren't ready for work, and 80% say young hires are less prepared than previous generations. This workforce readiness crisis caught the attention of U.S. Chamber of Commerce, leading to an unprecedented partnership between two major American institutions. When Coleman sat down with Chamber of Commerce CEO Suzanne Clark and Chief Policy Officer Neil Bradley in late 2024, they realized they were fighting the same battle from different angles. Students weren't getting practical business education, and employers couldn't find qualified entry-level workers. Their solution is surprisingly straightforward, but potentially revolutionary. AP Business with Personal Finance launching this fall. This new course represents a complete departure from traditional AP thinking. Instead of focusing on the top 20 to 30% of students headed to elite colleges, this program targets nearly all high school students, whether they're college-bound or planning to enter the workforce directly. The backing is impressive. Nearly 300 employers, including IBM, Nissan, and Wells Fargo, have endorsed the program, along with 75 local chambers of commerce across more than 40 states. Students who master this course will receive recognition from thousands of employers and can use it as a direct pathway to employment. The timing couldn't be more critical for business owners and entrepreneurs. The course addresses a fundamental gap that's been growing wider with each graduating class. Bradley from the Chamber of Commerce explains that even skilled tradespeople, so think welders, electricians, mechanics, often dream of running their own business but lack basic business knowledge. The course covers essential topics like the difference between partnerships and LLCs, reading profit and loss statements, and understanding business credit. These are exactly the skills that separate successful entrepreneurs from those with great ideas but poor execution. What makes this development relevant for business leaders is how it connects to the broader workforce trends. Gen Z workers are fundamentally different from previous generations. They're seeking meaning, work-life balance, and mental health considerations from their employers in ways that 40 years of workplace data shows is unprecedented. Stephanie Markin from Gallup notes that this generation is looking for something very different from work, partly because they're not finding fulfillment in traditional community structures like previous generations did. The AI angle adds another layer of urgency. Coleman fears that AI will accelerate the why bother mentality among students who see traditional career paths being automated away. Even Ford CEO Jim Farley shared a story about his own son working as a mechanic and questioning why he needs college. This sentiment is spreading as young people watch AI transform entire industries seemingly overnight. For business owners and entrepreneurs, this new AP course could solve multiple problems simultaneously. First, it creates a pipeline of workers who actually understand basic business principles from day one. Second, it might produce more entrepreneurial-minded individuals who could become future business partners, employees, or even competitors who understand the game. Third, it addresses the growing disconnect between what schools teach and what the business world actually needs. This course also signals a broader shift in how we think about career preparation. Coleman wants to eliminate what he calls the cruel segregation between college-bound and career track students. In today's economy, everyone needs business skills, whether they're planning on becoming doctors, electricians, or software developers. The old division between career education and general education is breaking down, and this course really acknowledges that reality. The practical implications for business owners are significant. Instead of spending months training new hires on basic business concepts, you might soon have access to entry-level workers who already understand profit margins, business structures, and financial literacy. For entrepreneurs looking to hire their first employees, this could mean finding people who actually understand how businesses work from the start. This partnership between the College Board and the Chamber of Commerce represents something bigger than just another AP course. It's a recognition that our education system needs to adapt to an economy where business knowledge isn't just for business majors anymore. Whether this program can actually re-engage disconnected students and prepare them for an AI-transformed workplace remains to be seen, but the alternative, continuing with the status quo, clearly isn't working for anyone. And in our final story, AI agents are moving beyond simple automation to become autonomous decision makers that could reshape entire industries, with banking and insurance leading the transformation. So we're witnessing a fundamental shift in artificial intelligence that goes far beyond the chatbots and automation tools most businesses are familiar with today. AI agents represent a completely new category of technology that doesn't just follow commands or execute pre-programmed tasks. Instead, these systems can set their own objectives, reason through complex problems, collaborate with humans and other AI systems, and continuously learn from their experiences. Think of it as the difference between a calculator that only responds when you press the buttons versus a digital colleague that can identify problems, develop solutions, and take action independently. This evolution from reactive AI to proactive AI is already transforming how businesses operate, particularly in sectors where speed and accuracy can make or break customer relationships. Unlike traditional automation that breaks down when it encounters unexpected situations, AI agents thrive in uncertainty. They can adapt to new contexts, make decisions with incomplete information, and actually get better at their jobs over time. They accomplish this by pulling together massive amounts of structured and unstructured data from multiple sources, then providing responses that feel remarkably human-like while maintaining the precision and consistency that only machines can deliver. The banking industry in Mexico provides a perfect example of how this technology is reshaping entire business models. Mexican consumers have fundamentally changed their expectations over the past years. They no longer tolerate lengthy approval processes or confusing paperwork or delayed responses to their financial needs. Banks that continue operating with traditional methods are losing customers to competitors who've embraced AI agents for critical operations. These intelligent systems now handle instant digital onboarding by automatically verifying documents and cross-referencing multiple databases in real time. They perform comprehensive risk analysis by connecting internal bank data with external sources to create complete customer profiles in seconds rather than days. Most importantly, they're preventing fraud by identifying unusual patterns the moment they occur, protecting both the bank and its customers from financial losses. The transformation goes beyond just speed improvements. AI agents are enabling banks to provide hyper-personalized financial advice by analyzing individual spending patterns, life circumstances, and financial goals. They automatically monitor regulatory compliance requirements and flag potential issues before they become problems. When market conditions change rapidly, these systems can adjust lending criteria, investment recommendations, and risk assessments instantly. This represents a complete reimagining of what digital banking can accomplish. The insurance industry presents an even more dramatic opportunity for transformation. According to AMIS data, only 15 to 20% of insurance companies in Mexico currently use any form of AI in their operations. This means the vast majority of insurers are still handling policy underwriting, claim management, fraud detection, and customer service using manual processes that can take weeks or months to complete. AI agents can revolutionize each of these areas by evaluating risk and personalizing premium calculations in minutes rather than weeks. They can verify insurance claims, calculate appropriate payouts, and process payments automatically. Their pattern recognition capabilities allow them to spot fraudulent claims by analyzing behavioral data and identifying suspicious activities before payments are made. Customer service represents perhaps the biggest opportunity for insurance companies. Instead of forcing customers to navigate phone trees and wait for callbacks, AI agents can provide contextualized responses and real-time support for complex policy questions. They can explain coverage details, help customers understand their options during life changes, and even proactively reach out when they identify potential coverage gaps. This level of personalization and responsiveness was simply impossible with traditional approaches. However, the most successful implementations of AI share a critical characteristic that many businesses overlook during their initial excitement about the technology. Trust isn't something that can be added after the system is built. For AI agents to gain widespread adoption, especially in highly regulated industries like banking and insurance, they must be explainable, traceable, and transparent from the ground up. Business leaders need to understand not just what decisions these systems are making, but why they're making them and how they arrived at their conclusions. SAS has responded to this need by developing solutions that prioritize reliable decision-making, maintaining the proper balance between human oversight and AI autonomy, and ensuring governance and explainability remain central to every AI agent deployment. Their approach recognizes that explainability isn't a nice-to-have feature for businesses considering AI agents. It's becoming the new standard for trustworthy artificial intelligence, particularly as regulatory scrutiny increases and customer expectations for transparency grows. The timing of this shift couldn't be more critical for business owners and entrepreneurs. Organizations that strategically adopt AI agents now will gain significant competitive advantages over those who wait. In industries where speed and trust determine market leaders, AI agents aren't optional anymore. They're rapidly becoming the baseline expectation for how modern businesses operate. The question isn't whether AI agents will transform your industry, but whether you'll be leading the transformation or scrambling to catch up with competitors who embraced it first. So as you can see, across creative industries, education, and enterprise systems, AI is pushing work to evolve at every level, what it means to be creative, employable, or even in control of decision-making. The companies and institutions adapting early aren't just reacting to new tools, they're redefining the skills and structures needed to stay competitive in an AI-driven economy. That's all we got for you in today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts to stay informed. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you in the next one.